The fourth phase of pitching is the release point and follow-through. The basic idea behind a successful release is that the player will produce backspin on the baseball in order to maximize velocity and accuracy. By avoiding several of the common flaws with release, players can get the most out of their consistent motion. The release point of the fastball should be in front of the head with the elbow at shoulder height. Fingers should be behind the baseball and not spinning off to the side. The pitcher should get the feeling of throwing down towards the target. For the beginning pitcher, the emphasis should be placed on allowing the throwing arm to release freely through the ball and allowing the body to bend over the waist in the follow-through position. Ideally, we'd like to see our beginning pitchers to have a flat back and the back foot up in the air. The first flaw that we see in our release and follow-through is that the player is pushing the ball. The player should release the baseball out in front of their head. However, many young players release the ball too far back, creating a pushing of the ball and reducing backspin and velocity. The drills we use to reinforce a good release are the towel drill and the bounce drill. Okay, demonstrate some of the drills that we use to reinforce a good release. We're going to bring James back, okay, and he's going to show us how to do the towel drill. Okay, so James is going to set up in sort of his power position with his feet nice and wide. His hands are going to be together with the towel in it. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take 5 steps out from his front foot. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And from here, I'm going to hold at that 5-foot position. I'm going to hold out any glove, bat, anything you want to so that he can then swing with the towel and hit it. Okay, so I'm standing right here. James is going to go through his motion and he's just going to try to hit that glove as hard as he can. Good. Okay, do one more. Awesome. Okay, and that shows us a really hard, good release and follow through without having to use a baseball. Okay, he's got that nice hard swing with that towel. Smacking this, kids love this drill anyways because they get to hit an adult in the glove as hard as they can. Okay, so for the bounce drill, what we're going to do is James is going to stand about 30 feet that direction from the hat, maybe about 45 feet from a hat. So go ahead down there, James. And I'm going to head down to the other side. The hat's going to be set up in between me and James. James is going to get into his stretch position right there. And his goal here is to fire that ball hard at the hat. Okay? And by throwing at a downward angle, he's reinforcing a release point that's out in front of his head and generating lots of spin on that ball. And this is part of the origin of velocity for pitchers. Okay, so James, go ahead and fire that ball. Good. Okay. From pitchers, you're going to see one of the most important things that you're going to see out of this is a lot of backspin on the ball as the ball pops up off of the ground, even after he misses the hat. So he's trying to aim at a small target, which is a very good thing, but he's also looking at that great rotation up off the ground, sort of skipping that ball like a rock. Okay, go ahead. Do it again. Good. Pushing the baseball may also be a result of a player failing to get his or her hand behind the baseball. This can be corrected by asking the player to create as much spin on the baseball as possible throughout their warm-up or regular throwing drills. Ask your players to tell you what they see. Most players don't watch the spin, but once they learn this tactic, they'll easily correct this flaw. Another common flaw is an abbreviated follow-through, that is, pitcher not bending at the waist, ending up standing upright after release. The drill we use to reinforce a good follow-through is the throw and hold drill. After the player throws the pitch, he must touch the ground in front of him with his throwing fingers and hold for 3 seconds. The modern player that's made this the most famous is Tim Lincecum. Outdoors, you may ask them to pick up a pebble in front of them after each pitch. Tim Lincecum's dad used a dollar bill. So while Lincecum for this drill and Lincecum's dad used a dollar bill, the best thing for coaches, for you guys, is that you can grab just a set of baseball cards out at, CVS or any place, and then that sort of gets the kids into it a little bit more, and that way you don't have to give away dollar bills. So what James is going to do, he's going to set up here in his wind-up right from the beginning. He's going to go through, and I'm going to let him do this one time without actually putting down the card so I can get a good sense of where an appropriate pickup spot would be for him. So go ahead, James, go through that whole thing. Good. Okay, good. All right, so James's appropriate pickup spot looks to be somewhere about here. Okay? We don't need to push our kids too much at the beginning. Really just sort of find a position that's comfortable to them so that we're not asking them to stride out too far, and he really needs to be appropriate for their body size. So that's about where James is at. He's got a good long stride, so he gets to that spot. Okay, so James is going to go through his whole motion again and pick up that card at the end. Good. There you go. Good. James has got great balance, so you can see even for James it's a little bit tough to keep that balance through. Some pitchers might need to slow it down a little bit, but the bottom line is that you're trying to reinforce a good, strong follow-through and balance on that leg, that front leg, at the end of your throw, at the end of that release. The 5 mental points of pitching for youth that we really want to emphasize are, number 1, pitching to contact, aiming small and missing small, never missing in the same spot twice, building from pitch to pitch, and trying to create live practices with batters in the box. I hope you found this video helpful. Here at the Virginia Baseball Club, we provide lots of classes and individual instruction to help pitchers gain many of these same skills. Good luck out there and have a good season.